the famous girl, and this morning I really want to get into this article regarding Jay-Z scamming students. Yeah, you heard it right, scamming. Okay. This article was written on April 8th, 2025 by Ramsey Khalifa. This website is the Gothamist. And the headline reads, a Brooklyn school backed by Jay-Z said students could graduate debt-free. Now they're buried in it. Let's talk about this, all right? Y'all ready? All right, I'm gonna read this, okay? Justice Stevenson had recently graduated high school in Brooklyn and was questioning whether to take a gap year abroad or enroll in college when she received a text message from an unknown number that provided her answer. It said, I tried to reach you by phone. Roc Nation School at LIU is awarding you a full tuition scholarship. You will receive full tuition and be able to graduate without debt, read the message from LIU President Kimberly Klein. It felt too good to be true, Stevenson said, but her mother urged her to seize the opportunity to pursue what seemed to be a free degree in vocal performance. LIU was offering a Hope Scholarship, which the university says it awards to the highest need students. In the fall of 2021, she became part of the inaugural class of the Roc Nation School of Music, a headline grabbing partnership between LIU Brooklyn and Jay Z's entertainment company that promised guest lectures from stars like the Jonas Brothers and Rihanna. I remember being just generally conflicted about school, and then coming across the school made me feel a sense of security, Stevenson said. It was a full scholarship immediately. It was a music school, which is iconic and the dream, and Jay Z is involved. The text from the LIU president, she said, made me feel special. But she started noticing unexpected changes tied to her studies. In 2023, Stevenson reached out to Klein directly with questions about her scholarship. Klein texted back, I am in DC meetings with Congress. I will reach out to you on Friday. Stevenson said she hasn't heard back since. Now, Stevenson is preparing to graduate while also paying off $5,000 in student debt. She said she negotiated that amount down from $26,000 after arguing to LIU officials that she'd been promised a debt free graduation. Wow. Stevenson is among at least a dozen students in the first class of Hope Scholars who said they'd unexpectedly owed LAU thousands of dollars despite receiving offer letters stating they'd graduate, quote, without debt, unquote. Gothamist spoke with several students who said the Roc Nation School did not live up to its promise of teaching the next generation of artists and entertainment entrepreneurs. In the program's first year, students said they created their own do it yourself recording studio due to lack of facilities. Other scholarship recipients went to great lengths to stay enrolled, like couch surfing for months. Oh my God. After they realized they were on the hook for housing and other fees. At least four students said they dropped out of the school completely or transferred to other schools due to the unexpected costs. Financial aid experts say the confusion about the terms of the scholarship is a sign of universities' increasingly aggressive marketing as they compete for students. The 12 students who spoke with Gothamist shared financial records that show they owe money ranging from $5,000 to $39,000. So I just want to pause here for a second. Like, Roc Nation, so basically, they're saying Roc Nation partnered with the school, they partnered with LAU, and through this program, they were supposed to basically like mentor these students and teach them about how to be entrepreneurs and how to basically achieve their goals and reach their dreams. And they were promised that they could graduate with no debt. And now they're coming out saying, no, we're in like thousands and thousands of dollars of debt. We were completely blindsided. That's what this feels like to me. So I'm gonna keep going with this. In two separate cases, school officials suggested in writing that a student take out private loans to pay off an outstanding balance. LIU marketing chief Jackie Nealon said this scholarship covers tuition only and that it enables students to graduate debt free. Tuition debt free. Okay. Upon admission to the university, Hope Scholarship recipients receive an offer letter from the university that outlines the full tuition scholarship and any student obligations, Nealon said. The offer letter also expressly includes that neither university fees nor housing costs are included in the scholarship. The spokesperson did not provide any copies of scholarship offers detailing what wasn't covered by the award. Gothamist obtained several offer letters describing a full tuition scholarship that, along with other financial grants, will allow the student to, quote, graduate without debt, unquote. The letters did not indicate that an assortment of academic fees and housing costs weren't covered. An outline archive shows that in 2023, the university changed language on an LIU webpage about the Hope Scholarship from a debt-free education to a tuition-free education. Okay, so basically they told these students, "Hey, you're going to graduate debt-free." And once people started to notice that they were still racking up debt, they tried to come back and say, "Oh, well, it doesn't cover everything. Like it doesn't cover academic fees and housing costs." And then they're trying to say that it didn't like they're trying to backtrack and say that we never meant debt-free education. We kind of just meant like tuition-free education. So backtracking basically. The article continues. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I'm probably going to butcher this. Ajaya Thomas, a Hope scholar, said she abandoned plans to study veterinary medicine because of LIU's statement she'd graduate debt free. She transferred to a different university 2 years later due to $19,000 in unexpected charges from LIU. Other students told Gothamist they felt deceived. When I saw that I still had to pay money, and then take out extra loans so that I could have my room and board paid for. It was very, very misleading, said Ashley Barksdale, 21, a Hope scholar who took out loans to help pay off more than 2020 or $22,000 she owes LAU. $22,000 that she owed. This girl was told that she would have no debt, and she came out of this with over 22K in debt. That's crazy. It says, as students' debt accumulated, some complained to administrators about the quality of the Roc Nation school, particularly in its first year. Students in the program majored in subjects including sports management and music production. But members of the inaugural class said the school didn't have a professional recording studio, so they built one themselves. This is this is crazy. Like I'm gonna read this again. But members of the inaugural class said the school didn't have a professional recording studio, so they built one themselves. They had to build one themselves. That's crazy. Celebrity guest speakers represented by Roc Nation like Rihanna, DJ Khaled, and the Jonas Brothers never showed, despite advertising featuring their names. Huh. A big story of the day is the desperation of even very selective institutions to enroll students. There are simply not enough students to go around. Ann Marcus, a higher education policy professor at NYU, said in an email pointing to the declining enrollment nationwide. LIU did not respond to questions about total enrollment in the Roc Nation school or the total number of Hope scholars. No, of course they didn't. A former employee who worked at the school during the program's first year, but asked to not be named due to fear of retaliation, said the school accepted around 50 Hope scholars in its inaugural class. LAU would confirm the number of Roc Nation students or scholarship recipients. The scholarship program is making an impact, Nealon said. The fine print. Kenyatta Beasley, a former music professor at LIU Brooklyn, said the partnership with Jay-Z's entertainment empire was intended to lure new students. The name of the game was to get butts in seats, and they make these promises. And so they said, F it. We don't want a small class. We're going to admit everybody. And that's what they did, said Beasley, who now teaches at Hofstra University. All of the initial correspondence reviewed by Gothamist between Hope Scholar students and LIU staff does not specify what is not covered by the scholarship. Shiesty. That is so shiesty. Because you are not, oh, I'm sorry, because you are a Hope Scholar, your tuition is fully covered. This means you do not need to make a tuition deposit. We can enroll you in classes right away. Reads one email in summer 2021 between Barksdale and an academic advisor. Many scholarship students received the same email. I am pleased to share that you have been awarded a Hope full tuition scholarship. The scholarship combined with financial grants will allow you to graduate without debt. As a Hope Scholar, you don't have to worry about tuition charges, the email read. The email didn't mention any other costs. Annual undergrad tuition at LIU Brooklyn costs $40,000, while the cost for housing, a meal plan, student health insurance, and a full time university fee is an additional $22,000, according to the university website. Kevin Ladd, the chief operating officer of the scholarships.com, which compiles scholarship opportunities across the country, said a full tuition scholarship is distinct from a full ride. But he found the language of the offer letters confusing. He said, there's probably some terms and conditions, some legal language in the fine print, but what I think they're promising is that when you graduate from LIU, you should not owe them any money. Hope scholars who spoke with Gothamist say they took the phrase graduate without debt at face value. I'm sorry. I gotta pause right here. There is no such thing as taking the phrase graduate without debt at face value. There is no face value. That it is what it is. Graduate without debt means graduate without debt. That don't mean graduate without some debt. No. So to tell these students that they would graduate without debt and they're coming out of this owing over $20,000, $30,000 in debt, y'all lied to them. That's what happened. Everything about this is predatory. This is disgusting, child. Let me keep going. You look at this paperwork where this very expensive institution is telling you you'd be able to get all these opportunities for less. You're going to get your college paid for, and they use this propaganda to get you in, said Thomas, one of the Hope Scholars. In an anonymous letter sent in 2023 to Tressa Cunningham, the dean of the Roc Nation School, 16 students criticized administrators for being hard to reach regarding registration and financial aid, among other complaints. The LIU spokesperson said each student is paired with a mentor who helps them navigate all aspects of campus life, including financial aid. A chance to study the Book of Hove. When Hope scholar Jordan Drone, who raps under the moniker Iconic Jordan, arrived at the Roc Nation School of Music, he said he quickly realized the school had no professional recording studios. He said he and his friends spent much of their first semester building their own studio in an abandoned room once used as a student radio station. They created a sign up sheet for other students to book the do it yourself space. Even professors use the studio. This is like making like this got my blood pressure going up. Like you had these students build, they had to like make their own makeshift studio because this Roc Nation quote unquote school of music, they didn't have recording studios. How can you be a school of music and you don't have professional recording studios? You don't even have equipment for them? What is this? Anyway, the Roc Nation program, Drone said, was a disappointment. He'd applied in 2021 while living in West Memphis, Arkansas, chasing a dream to follow in the footsteps of his idol, Jay-Z. And that's a problem. You shouldn't be idolizing people. That's y'all number one problem. But anyway, In his song Save the Children, Drone raps about his desire to go from rags to riches. I'll chase the lure of fame till you see the feast and want to be, but me, I want both. Amazing sight to see, financially free. He plastered his dorm room with images from Jay-Z's Blueprint albums and a copy of the Book of Hove. He thought the program was his ticket to stardom. When you do something of that nature, you want it to matter. You want it to be huge. You want to make sure that you're going to be in a position where you can continue to evolve and get better, Drone said. And this is a picture of him. 3 years later, he is nearly $39,000 in debt for. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time reading this. Like, this is actually upsetting me. Oh, okay. 3 years later, he is nearly $39,000 in debt for student loans he thought he'd never need. That is so sad. That is so sad. Imagine being told that you finally have an opportunity to follow your dreams and thinking that, like, this is going to be your big break, like this is going to open up so many doors for you, being excited, being enthusiastic, being motivated, just to show up and realize that they didn't have any of the things that they promised you. Nothing that was promised to you was ever presented. And then when it was all said and done, you ended up walking away with $40,000 in debt. That is devastating. I can't even imagine how devastated this young man has to feel. That is sad. That is really, really sad. Like, I really have a problem with this, like, for real. I'm gonna keep reading this. Nealon, the LIU spokesperson, said that students enrolled in the inaugural class enjoyed immediate access to a comprehensive range of facilities, including a piano lab, practice rooms, sound treated studio spaces, and a theater. She said the school has since added and updated campus facilities to adapt the evolving needs of the industry. Gothamist toured practice studios in the Humanities Building in March 2024 and found that many lacked an essential feature, soundproofing. I've had records that I tried to record in there where I literally had to re-record them because there was too much background noise. People in the other room talking, said Sumate Hutchinson, another Hope scholar standing outside the old student radio room. I'm sorry, I'm getting like tongue tied and twisted up because like actually reading this is like irritating me. Like I'm actually getting aggravated. I'm sorry. Frustration with the facilities was exacerbated by the gleaming Brooklyn Paramount Theater on LIU's campus. The historic music hall, with a capacity of around 2,700, underwent a multi-million dollar renovation by Live Nation, the parent company of Roc Nation, and reopened in March of last year. High profile musicians like Nora Jones, Gunna, and Charlie XCX have performed there. It feels as if, within hindsight, the theater was never for us to begin with. We've only been inside there once, Drone said. Wow. LIU officials said that students have performed at the new theater and that Live Nation has hired students as employees and interns. Roc Nation was not involved in the partnership between LIU and Live Nation, the LIU spokesperson said. Promotional material for the Roc Nation school touted classroom visits from high profile stars who wouldn't be out of place on the Paramount Theater's marquee. Your classrooms will include Roc Nation artists. For example, when you study women in music, Rihanna will visit your classroom. DJ Khaled, the Jonas Brothers, Megan Thee Stallion, and other Roc Nation artists will serve as guest lecturers, and professional athletes, agents, and sports professionals will offer instruction and insight for aspiring sports professionals, reads a 2021 acceptance letter to a Roc Nation student. They told these students that Rihanna, DJ Khaled, the Jonas Brothers, and Megan Thee Stallion would all serve as guest lecturers to help offer basically motivation for aspiring students, basically, just for these students to then turn around and say that these people never even showed up. Let me keep reading. Aside from a visit from Megan Thee Stallion, students who spoke to Gothamist said few, if any, major celebrities had visited the campus. LIU said in a statement that the Roc Nation school has hosted nearly 200 guest speakers in the last 4 years, including Fat Joe, Rhapsody, former Giants wide receiver Victor Cruz, and former pro basketball player Danny Green. Prominent sports and media execs like NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez have also spoken at student events, according to LAU. Okay, uh, Fat Joe, Rhapsody, Victor Cruz, Danny, who these? I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but like the names that y'all are listing here are very different from names like Rihanna and DJ Khaled and the people that they were saying would show up to speak for them. So that's a major downgrade. But I'm just saying. Anyway, while big name rappers were a rare sight at LAU, Jay-Z's presence was still felt. Many of the LIU buildings where Roc Nation students study have the same poster on the walls featuring a quote from Jay-Z. It says, "Every human being has genius level talent. There are no chosen ones. You just have to find what you are good at and tap into it," the poster reads. The Brooklyn rapper was featured in course materials too, a syllabus for a bachelor's in music technology, entrepreneurship, and production showed an elective course on the business of Sean Carter, Jay-Z's real name. None of the students Gothamist spoke with had taken the class. "We came here because this was somewhere that Jay-Z promoted by putting his name on it. I mean, I feel like it goes without saying it's Jay-Z's school, right? It's the Roc Nation school," Drum said. To remain enrolled, Drone borrowed nearly $10,000 a year despite receiving the Hope Scholarship, two other scholarships, and a handful of other federal grants. In at least two instances, LIU officials suggested in emails to Hope Scholarship that students, I'm sorry, let me start over. In at least two instances, LIU officials suggested in emails to Hope Scholarship students that they take out private student loans to remain enrolled. That's sick. Hutchinson opted to sleep on couches in student lounges for several months as his debt piled up. Bursar records show he owes $37,000 in student. That is absolutely ridiculous. When administrators got wind of his predicament, Associate Dean of Students Nick Sava suggested in an email that Hutchinson pay out of pocket or take out a loan to cover the housing. Sava shared a link to a private loan service, which Hutchins, what the hell? He gave him a link to a private loan service, which Hutchinson did not use. That's shady. Isn't that shady? What is that? They're over promising how much they're going to contribute and then turning around and telling students to cover the rest after they promised that they would pretty much cover everything, which makes no sense, Hutchinson said. It actually does make perfect. It makes perfect sense. They're scamming y'all. Duh. Emails obtained by Gothamist show an administrator suggesting another student, Ariana Gardiner, also take out a private loan to resolve a debt tied to attending LIU. Gardiner said she didn't pursue a private loan and has since considered transferring to another school. "I moved back to New York in a heartbeat for this school in a week's notice with the promise of going to school for free and graduating with no debt. To be getting bills in the mail that you can't afford is really crazy," Gardner said. Music Duval was living in a homeless shelter when he applied to the school in 2021. He received a Hope Scholarship, but has dropped out because he couldn't afford to attend. He now owes $17,549. Not being able to finish school still haunts him. "I want to get my degree to break the general chain of high school dropouts," he said, adding that he regularly gets calls from debt collectors while working for a co-working space company. The advertising for the Hope Scholarship highlights the growing complexity of financial aid packages at universities across the country. According to Mary Beth Murphy, a higher education consultant. Financial aid admissions have changed rather dramatically from a much simpler way of awarding financial aid and handling admissions to a very complex, data driven process, Murphy said. Institutions are now very focused on marketing to students. Nealon, the LIU Brooklyn spokesperson, said that the university aims to ensure all students are well informed and make decisions that are best for their financial future. Nealon did not respond directly to questions about the exchanges regarding private loans. Yeah, I bet she didn't. It is solely up to the student whether to accept or decline loan offers, she said. Murphy said it was very concerning for a university employee to suggest a student consider a private student loan, calling them loans of last resort. Right, that's what I said. Like, why are you telling a student to go take out a private loan? Like, what kind of shit is that? That's crazy. She noted that the loans typically lack an income based payment plan or a pause on interest until a student graduates. They're also usually ineligible for loan forgiveness programs. Drone and Hutchinson both look back on their experience at LIU Brooklyn with bitterness. This sounds like a scam, like a school of rock bull s Donald Trump University, Drone said. Hutchinson agreed. My dad thought it was a scam, Hutchinson said. Come to find out, it kind of has been a scam. No, babe, it is a scam. 1000% a scam. This is disgusting. I'm looking at the comments. LAU trustees and leadership have been accused by employees of using the school as a personal piggy bank for decades now. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Accusations include leadership hiring their own kids who have no relevant oh my goodness. Someone said, don't trust billionaires in education. Don't trust billionaires, period. That is really sad. You had all these students. First of all, they didn't seek Roc Nation out. They weren't seeking these people out. They were going to the students, promoting themselves to students, reaching out to them, telling them, hey, come over here, come join this program. You're going to graduate debt free. Just to find out when they actually went into the program, the majority of things that were promised to them never manifested. They didn't even have legitimate recording studios to use. The students had to create their own recording studio, like a makeshift recording studio. That is so disgusting. So, not only did these people end up leaving the school, dropping out, or transferring, they're in thousands and thousands of dollars worth of debt. And they don't even have a degree to show for it. That is disgusting. And you know what? Isn't this like the second or third accusation against Jay-Z in the last few weeks? Because if I remember correctly, he just was slapped with a lawsuit for allegedly stealing another lawyer's work regarding the Meek Mill case. He basically they stole that attorney's legal advice and plagiarized it and didn't pay him. Like they scammed him, basically. So there's a big lawsuit going on now alleging that Jay-Z and Roc Nation basically conspired to basically finesse the judicial system and steal and not pay. So why is it that we keep hearing stories about Jay-Z and scamming? And I do remember Nicki Minaj at some point last year, she said that, when she agreed to do Jay-Z's deal with Tidal, She said she was promised like millions of dollars, and she said she never got one red penny. She blasted Jay-Z on her Twitter and said that he never paid her and that she was upset about it. And then she said that Desiree Perez tried to contact her and tried to offer her some low, ridiculously low number. I mean, Nikki didn't produce receipts and she didn't give us like exact numbers, but I'm just saying, like, reading an article like this and then thinking back to what Nicki Minaj said about him and how she felt like Jay-Z scammed her and used her likeness and didn't pay her, gave her nothing. That, and then now this article, you're taking these students' money, or you're telling these students to come over and to be a part of your program, and they're coming over and they're leaving with incredible debt, when your organization acknowledged that the people that they were reaching out to, the students that they were reaching out to, were students that were that had lower income, that were more in need than other students. So you're literally targeting people who don't really have it like that, young people, young broke college students. You're targeting them, you're getting them to come over, and you're basically using them and then kicking them to the curb when it's all said and done. And now they owe all this money. So my question is, I want to know, what is LIU's role in all this? Like, why is this school allowed to partner with a company like Roc Nation and basically not produce anything? How are they allowed to get their students to participate in a program like this? And when the students are coming back like, hey, this isn't right, like, this ain't right, you guys are telling them, oh, go take out a personal loan? I don't know exactly what they have going on here, but I'm telling you, like, just me being intuitive and knowing how to read the room and just paying attention to everything that has been going on lately. I don't know. I feel like it's pretty clear that there is a campaign against Jay-Z right now. And he has a lot of the odds right now, in my opinion, are definitely working against him, because I keep seeing articles like this. I keep seeing articles like this. I keep hearing things. I don't know what kind of business Roc Nation has going on, but I feel like they have some kind, I just think they got some kind of criminal thing. I think Roc Nation might be some kind of like criminal organization, seriously. I think they might have some serious criminal activity going on, because everything about this to me screams shell company, it screams sham, it screams money laundering. Like, this is a fake, this was fake. This school, this program was completely fake. It was a scam. And these students, they're all realizing that it was a scam. So if it was a scam, that means Roc Nation, they never had the intention to teach any of these students anything, to help them, to pay for it. Like, they never had the intention to do anything for them. So it's like, if they never had the intention to do anything for the students, then what would have been the goal? What would have been the reason for them to establish a program like that if they weren't going to help the students? To me, it's given y'all need a way to clean y'all money or something. I don't know. But yeah, Desiree Perez and Jay-Z, y'all name constantly coming up and stuff like this. I'm just saying, just and also we're getting ready to go into Diddy's trial next month, and these articles coming out. I'm gonna be honest, I would not be surprised if in the near future we end up seeing Jay-Z get hit with criminal charges. I'm calling it right now. I could see him ending up with some kind of like charges for something, because that lawsuit from that lawyer that alleged that Jay-Z and his company, his organization and his lawyers stole that man's work and then used it to get Meek Mill out of jail. That lawyer had some serious accusations in his verbiage. It sounded very serious. The way that lawsuit was written, he was not playing around. That lawsuit, and then you had the lawsuit, the Cash App lawsuit with Block Inc. and Jack Dorsey suing them because allegedly they were allowing users to solicit, child S trafficking and drug dealing and um, contract slayings and all of that. So I just feel like that lawsuit, then you have the lawyer suing. Now you have Gothamist with this article saying Jay-Z scammed all these people out of thousands of dollars, basically. It's not looking good at all. So, yeah, don't be surprised if he ends up getting charged soon or more things start to come out about him. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening. I will come back with any more updates about this. Yeah, and we'll just have to see what happens from this point forward. But yeah, things aren't looking good for Jay-Z right now. But anyway, thank you guys. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.